Have you ever heard the voice of a deity on the battlefield? Not a prophecy, not the sound of trumpets, but a poem echoing through the night, piercing the thick fog of war. No one knew who recited it. No one dared to speak. Yet after that night, the invading army retreated in fear, while Darvirt's soldiers stood taller, their eyes burning with newfound faith. This wasn't just a miracle, it was the first proclamation of sovereignty in our nation's history. And the man behind this wonder was the brilliant General Lý Thường Kiệt. Born in 1019, his real name was No Thuong, a descendant of the legendary No Queen, who had once defeated the southern Han invaders on the Bac Dong River. From an early age, he stood out for his intelligence, boldness, and a will of steel. Aware of his royal lineage, No Thuong voluntarily changed his surname to Lý and took the name Lý Thường Kiệt, pledging absolute loyalty to the Lý Dynasty. With his military brilliance and political foresight, he quickly rose to become a pillar of the court leader entrusted with the nation's fate in its darkest hour. In late 1075, as the Song Dynasty plotted to invade, Lý Thường Kiệt made a bold decision: strike before being struck. He personally led over 100,000 troops across the border, launching a surprise assault on the vital military hubs of Cam and Liam prefectures. Within weeks, supply depots were destroyed, fortresses collapsed, and thousands of enemy soldiers were eliminated. This lightning strike not only stunned the Song court, but also proved that even a small nation like Darvirt could seize the initiative and dictate the course of war. Refusing to accept defeat, the Song Empire prepared a massive counterattack. In early 1077, Emperor Shenzong dispatched the veteran general Quoc, commanding 100,000 troops, cavalry, naval units, and siege engineers. Their march southward was like a tidal wave, aiming to crush Darvirt in one swift blow. Sensing the storm to come, Lý Thường Kiệt pulled back strategically, not to retreat, but to fortify. The court, the military, and the people united in grim determination. The entire nation became a living fortress, ready for a do-or-die resistance. Lý Thường Kiệt chose the Nguyen River, modern-day Co Riveras, his last line of defense, not just for its terrain, but because he understood. Here lay the boundary between survival and annihilation. He ordered a massive fortification effort. Weeks passed. The cold bit deeper. Supplies ran low. Exhaustion set in. Though their will was firm, Darvirt's soldiers began to falter. Their eyes, once fierce, now dimmed with fatigue. Late at night, Lý Thường Kiệt sat alone in his war tent, studying the battlefield map, his face heavy with concern. He knew steel alone wouldn't win this war. His people needed more than tactics, they needed spirit, a flame of belief bright enough to pierce the darkest doubt. Then, he had an idea, one simple, yet powerful enough to shift the war. That night, under a moonlit sky, the Nguyen River lay still. The wind whispered through groves of old bamboo. Suddenly, from the direction of the Trung Hat temple, a voice began to chant a deep, solemn poem, as though spoken by a divine spirit. Mountains and rivers of the southern land belong to the southern emperor. This truth is recorded in heaven's decree. Why then do the northern invaders trespass? They shall meet inevitable defeat. The four lines echoed across the camp. No one saw who spoke, yet no one doubted its power. The words struck the hearts of soldiers like thunder from the heavens. Heads lifted, eyes lit with renewed courage. Across the river, the Song soldiers shuddered. Rumors spread. The southern gods had spoken. What seemed like mere poetry became a sword of divine terror. After that sacred night, the Vietnamese camp burst with life. Soldiers trained with fiery energy. Doubt vanished. In its place, confidence. Lý Thường Kiệt walked among his men, pride gleaming in his eyes. Across the river, fear grew. The Song troops whispered of guardian spirits protecting the south. The mighty invaders, once unstoppable, were now riddled with fear. Before swords even clashed, their morale was crumbling exactly as Lý Thường Kiệt had hoped. And then, the decisive battle began. The Song army charged, attempting to cross the river, but as soon as they landed, they fell into a trap. Hidden stakes pierced boats, arrows and fire rained down. Ambushes struck from all sides. Amidst the smoke and fury, Lý Thường Kiệt led the charge on horseback. The cry of "Sat that!" shook the heavens. The Song forces collapsed. Thousands perished. General Quoc, humiliated and broken, was forced to retreat in shame. The North was silenced. Victory was total. After the war, the poem Nam Quốc Sơn Hà lived on not just as battlefield legend, but as Vietnam's first declaration of independence. Lý Thường Kiệt, the brilliant general, proved that patriotism, intelligence, and unity could defeat even the mightiest empire. Today, school children still recite those verses. They remain in history books, in national memory, a timeless lesson. When a nation stands together, no force can make it kneel. And sometimes, a poem is all it takes to win a war.